What's up, everybody? It's Buck50, and I wanted to make a response video to the man that confronted Donald Trump at Freedom Fest in Vegas, and I thought just asked the most beautiful question that I've ever heard, man. And I saw the video on WorldStar, and I was taken back, man. I was just like, wow, what a question. But let me tell you something real quick. Walls, they only imprison the people on both sides. That's all it does. It prevents free travel. It imprisons the people on both sides. Okay, that's one. And we only agree with walls when it's in our interests and when we agree with that government. For example, the wall in Palestine. You see a lot of people in this country like, oh, I love that wall. That's great. Those monsters on that side, of course, it's the Jews' land. So we agree with that. But then we say, you know, the Berlin Wall, oh my God, the Berlin Wall had to come down. It had to come down. Dividing the people like that, this is awful. It's just awful. That wall needs to come down. You know, when it's in our interests, we agree with it. All walls do is imprison the people. I remember Ron Paul, he said something a few years ago, and I thought it was amazing. But he said sometimes when people build walls, they imprison the people that are building it. What happens when the government gets too out of control? And now you have a wall that, and there's nowhere to go. You know what I mean? There's nowhere to go. So you go, then you go, Buck, how do we solve this? This is crazy, man. There's so many illegal immigrants coming in here into America. And let me tell you something. The same thing is happening in England. And what happens is when you live in a welfare state, this is what you have. You incentivize the people all over the world just to come over here. So the same thing is happening in England with Romanians and Germans just coming into England and automatically getting on the government dole and getting jobs and all that. So how do you stop this? Well, first off, you stop the government from creating this mess, creating all these socialist programs. So we wouldn't care if there was if the welfareism was taken away. We wouldn't care about none of this mess. We wouldn't care. But what happens is our government helps the cartels. Okay, we actually Fast and Furious giving weapons to the Mexican cartel so they can kill their people. So what do you think is going to happen? People are going to flood into this country because there's so much violence in that country. We're helping the cartels. Just like from my last video, if El Chapo Guzman, if you watch that video, I explain how it works. But cartels and rich families in Mexico are in cahoots with rich businessmen in the alcohol industry and industrialists and lawmakers in this country. So we keep everything illegal. We keep regulation high. We keep bringing up welfareism and more social programs, and we passed the DREAM Act. Of course people are going to come over here. You know what I mean? And there's so much violence over there. So if we stop that and they can take back their country and do the same thing that we start to do and introduce freedom and, oh man, prosperity, innovation would just skyrocket. But we know that. So that's why there's so much mass illegal immigration, is because we're helping destroy their country and they have nowhere to go and they're just coming over here. We're incentivizing them also. So this is how you stop it. You know what I mean? But just like with that one guy asked, would you build walls? This is the question he asked. Would you build walls around every state in America to prevent rapists and murderers? And he said, no, but I would put one on the border. But that's a great question. Why wouldn't you put one on every state? If you want to stop murdering the murderers and the rapists from coming over here, right? Wouldn't that work? No, because that doesn't solve anything. That just imprisons the people within that state. So that's just a great question. I'm gonna salute you, brother. And man, but that's how I feel. I feel we need freedom, and if we stop with the welfareism and we became a free nation again and not so totalitarian, all the other countries want to mimic that. You know, because what happens is mass people want to come to this country and our country will rise. And that's not what's happening. people come to this country because we incentivize them and we enslave them just like we enslaved the local population. So yeah, we stopped the welfareism. So it stops incentivizing people within this country and stops incentivizing people from the other countries. Okay, so I'm not just talking about immigration. I'm talking about people within this country. So this is how you solve it. But I'm gonna end it right there, and I just want to thank you guys for showing me support, showing my channel support, and subscribe, like, and comment on the bottom.